There's a world of difference between a transport plan patched together in hotel rooms at a party conference with no input or consultation with northern leaders or mayors, and a transport plan that has been worked on for years by northern leaders and mayors through Transport for the North, which is a coherent plan representing the voice of the North and what people here want. And what's been announced at the conference today is not that coherent plan. And just let me explain why it isn't. It does not deliver Northern Powerhouse rail in full to Leeds. And the reason why that's a problem is because if you ask anybody here, they will say that the bottleneck that we have in rail capacity in the centre of Manchester and the bottleneck on the other side of the Pennines in Leeds and the constrained capacity between the two cities is actually the single biggest thing that is holding back transport in the north. Because anybody who lives in this part of the world knows that you just will face disruption and overcrowding and inconvenience if you try and travel across the Pennines, going anywhere from Liverpool to Newcastle or anywhere in between. So what has been announced today is not a solution to the east-west bottleneck that we face on the railways in the north. It does not deliver that new line. It involves patching up existing lines and leaving us with a problem that still has not been fixed. So it doesn't work east-west, but nor does it work north-south either. It does not make any logical sense to take HS2 trains up from London to Birmingham and then off HS2 onto the West Coast main line, which is already a heavily congested line and where the capacity doesn't exist. In fact, the argument for HS2 beyond Birmingham was always that it would deliver that extra capacity that would allow the railways to function properly. And people here know, the business community behind me will know, it's not just east-west where people can lose hours of their working week when making journeys. It can be north-south as well, because neither railway is as reliable as it needs to be for people here in the north of England, and particularly businesses who are making those frequent trips. So we haven't got a plan here that works north-south or east-west. That is not to say that there are not elements in this plan that provide some of what we need. The problem with it is it's a coherent plan that has been broken up and if you like, scattered around. What we have now got to do, myself and Bev, working with other northern mayors and leaders, to see if we can take what has been announced today and turn it back into a coherent plan for the north of England. And one, I hope, that will receive support from the opposition as well. So that's the job that's ahead of me as Mayor of Greater Manchester, and that's what we will be seeking to do. But it has been a highly frustrating week for us. It cannot be right that a project that we've all worked on together, and I speak for everybody behind me and with me, we've been at this for 15 years, where we've been working together across geography, but also across the political divide, to try and develop the right plan for the long-term best interests of our country. And we've put political differences aside, we've worked hard at it, and we've devoted a lot of time and a lot of energy to it. I don't see how you can take a plan that goes beyond the life of any individual government, or it goes beyond the interests of any one political party, given it goes all the way through the country, how you can kind of take that plan and basically tear it up at a party conference. Surely this should be done on a cross-party consultative basis, but we have not been consulted this week, a week when our city has done its best to play host to the government. And I'm proud of what we've done and the way in which the city has staged the conference. But I think we were entitled to better than what we've had. I think this city region was entitled to more respect than it's been given. We brought you here today to the first intercity railway station in the world. It was built almost 200 years ago, when the first services started operating between Liverpool and Manchester. And we're proud, aren't we, that it's in our city region. We really did give passenger rail, commuter rail to the world, and that's a great thing. And you may remember almost 10 years ago, George Osborne came to, I think it was the building just beyond here, to kind of tap into that spirit that the north of England had in the 19th century of pioneering and bringing new developments to the world, to say that he would bring forward a northern powerhouse that would be all about that ambition again for Britain, building new north-south lines with HS2, east-west with HS3 as he called it then, but obviously became Northern Powerhouse Rail, new platforms at Piccadilly, you name it, we were getting it all. It's hard not to feel that 10 years on from that announcement, the Conservative Party have not shown the courage, the conviction or the capability to turn those statements into reality, to the great frustration of people here. And we don't say that in a party political sense, it's just where we've been, and we've been waiting and working to try and turn all of these things into a reality. You know, I hope that those statements weren't made 10 years ago just with political intentions in mind to try and win votes here, but it's starting to look very much like that's what it was all about. And what has been announced today feels something more of the same. Does this country have the will within it to actually prioritise the north of England and sort out its transport problems? Does this country have it within it to stop treating people here in the north as second-class citizens when it comes to transport and put them at the front of the queue rather than the back of the queue when it comes to investment? These are still open questions and they've not been answered by the Prime Minister today, but we will keep working as one Greater Manchester to make sure we get the right investment for the people here in our city region and across the north, to ensure that we do what we can to turn this place into the powerhouse that we all know it can be in the future.